I think I'm someone who I just have this strong confidence in God,
Mm,
firm foundation, and I hold on to his promises so dear. And I think all through the period, I have this favorite Bible text,
mm,
Jeremiah 29:11, that the promises, the plans he has for me, they are good plans.
mm,
They are good plans. They're not evil plans. He wants to give me an expected end. So in times that I had my dark moment, when I had tears in my eyes, I had something to hold on to, and I just kept saying, God, you have brought me here. You promised to be good success. You promised to hold me up, and you have to just help me through it.
mm.
And it did.
Yes, hello everyone, and welcome to Faith Abroad. Today I have a special guest with me. She's called Moyo Sorelo Moyo Soreoluwa Agbojo, actually MJ. So we call her Moyo or MJ. Moyo, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry that name is a bit long for me, even though I'm Nigerian myself. I always misspell it. I tried so many times before now to get it, but somehow it didn't just work. Can you say the name, please, for us so that we can put it in our head?
Yes, it is Moyosoreoluwa.
Aha, you see. You are a project manager and a PhD candidate who is passionate about empowering students to succeed. You currently work as a research and academic assistant at Free Adventist University. What an envious position that you have. You're Christian and you participate weekly in worship services. Can you share your journey from Nigeria to Germany and what motivated your move with us?
Thank you very much for having me, Pastor. I came to Germany in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I came for my master's, and what motivated me, I'm actually someone who is very passionate about education. I'm also someone who loves academic excellence. I've always been an excellent student,
Mm,
and it has always been a part of the plan to further my education. So I got married in 2019, and my husband got a scholarship to come to Germany.
mm,
Initially, I was looking to study in the English-speaking countries like Canada and UK, US, but because my husband got a scholarship, there was like a shift, and Germany became an option.
mm.
And here I am 4 years later in Germany, and I have God to thank for that.
Excellent. So, actually, marriage, because of marriage, you saw yourself landing in Germany. Okay, tell me, those first days in Germany, from the airport so you said you came to study as a master's student. So, from the airport to the university, those first days, what were those days like?
I would say I was really excited to be in Germany. And luckily for me, I came in summer. It wasn't in winter. So I had it all rosy until winter came.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I already had enough time to acclimate before I witnessed the real Germany, because didn't have classes immediately I came. But when classes started, oh my, it was a different story entirely.
Mm.
My experience was really terrible. I thought of going back to Nigeria, but I'm glad that I was able to adapt and pull through.
So you thought about going back to Nigeria. What specifically precipitated this thought? Like, was it just because things were hard? Was it financial struggle? What exactly made you to like maybe it's better to go back to Nigeria? Those first days.
Yeah, I would say so many things. There's the language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
There's the fact that it was very cold in winter. It was difficult to get out of bed. You have to, attend classes, and it was just a lot. You have to work and also be a student and also be a wife as well. So it was, I had a lot of intersections and managing it was just tough for me.
Yeah, I can try. I mean, I'm not a woman, so I'm not a wife, but as a husband myself, but I can try to imagine, of course, those intersections. So you were students, you were a wife, and then you also needed to kind of be yourself, a new person in Germany. But, and then, of course, you're missing your family. And then there's this language barrier plus the code. So, of course, being a wife, you were being taken care of. Let's talk about it. Let's not talk about that side on the code side. So, but the language barrier, which is always a problem for everyone coming to Germany. Have you been able to conquer that, or how were you able to navigate that such that now yeah, a PhD candidate, a research assistant? Tell us something more.
Well, I have got to think that at least to an extent,
Mhm.
I have my B1 certificate now, but it wasn't easy. So many times, in fact, I started feeling at some point the Canadian application to leave Germany because I wasn't ready to accept that, oh, I had to learn the language. It got easier along the line. So I'm grateful to God that I'm here now.
It got easier. You have a B1. Wow. And wow, can you? So you said you have God to thank for that. How then has your faith influenced your decision to not just come to Germany, because you knew all those challenges, but of course love was calling you to come to Germany, right? And then to stay and pursue, say, higher education and to sail through this difficult terrain and the intersections that you mentioned earlier.
So if I understand the question, how has faith helped me?
Mm,
I think just I'm someone who um I just have this strong confidence in God,
mm,
firm foundation, and I hold on to his promises so dear. And I think all through the period, I have this favorite Bible text,
mm,
Jeremiah 29:11, that the promises, the plans he has for me, they are good plans.
mm,
They are good plans. They're not evil plans. He wants to give me an expected end. So in times that I had my dark moment, when I had tears in my eyes, I just, I had something to hold on to. And I just kept saying, God, you have brought me here. You promised to me good success. You promised to hold me up, and you have to just help me through it.
mm.
And it did. So I'm grateful to God.
Fascinating. Jeremiah 29:11 and God promising to hold you on. So, can you share kind of some experiences for us, how God held you, say, in your academic journey? So, you were at Freedings Adventist University studying international social sciences, right?
Yes.
Even though it was in English, by the way, which was a bit easier for you. You didn't have to study German immediately. But I kind of imagine it was not easy. It was not rosy because that's not what you studied, right, in the past.
I
So
know it wasn't.
yeah, so give us, just tell me how did you see God's promises really pushing you through, or when you were holding on to those promises, like Jeremiah 29:11, you were holding on to that promise. I know the plans I have for you, and maybe there's this course that's so difficult, and you still remember, I know the plans I have for you. Maybe you want to share one or two experiences that can help, say, someone who is listening to sail through.
Okay. I think God provided support for me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't think. It did. It actually did that. It provided support.
Mm,
I had mentors who were able, things I didn't understand. They were there to explain to me, this is how to do this is how you do it. Because the first few weeks of classes, I was literally clueless. I didn't understand anything. Like, what am I doing here?
mm,
But I'm grateful to God because I look back now and I can say it was just God. He brought me all the way.
mm.
So it is God. I had this thing that has to do with calculations or mathematics. I'm really terrible at it. And I had courses like that that I had to do during my studies, and I was able to, scale through. And I'm like, how did I do this? Sometimes I just I look back and I'm like, how did that happen? It's just God because I cannot even explain it. So many situations where I expected to fail, but I see my result and I'm like, this is just God.
Yeah.
And that's just been my testimony all through because
Yeah.
when people say, this is MJ, this, and I'm like, am I really the same person you're talking about? It's just God. That's
Amen.
my testimony.
Amen. I mean, if people hear you speaking, it's like God came and wrote the exams for you. But that's not so. You also had to put in some effort. Actually, I think I was, before we began this interview. Now, I was just trying to get more info on how to speak with you and ask you questions. And you had an Instagram post recently, and you were saying it's not about being. So you described or you kind of insinuated that people thought you're an A student, right? And you're talking about the fact that you also had lower grades, or C or a D, something like that. But that is about persistence, right? So when you speak about God, of course, God was helping you. But you want to talk about the work you put into this study that made you to come out, say, flying colors.
Okay. I put in the work, right? But I can boldly say God strengthened me
Mm,
because the kind of things that I did, Pastor, so many things that I had going on, multitasking,
mm,
is not something anyone could have done without God. And that's just what I'm trying to say. I definitely put in the work late nights,
yeah.
delayed gratification. I had to work 3 jobs. The library was my second home. And when I get home, I'm cooking. I have to make sure we eat because I have a big baby at home. So it was just a lot.
Okay, okay. I want
Through it
to.
all,
Yeah,
God was there.
yeah. So was it easy studying late nights?
No,
Are
it
you a night
wasn't.
person? I'm not a night person who kind of has to study throughout the night. Was it easy?
No, it wasn't, to be honest. I'm just a very disciplined person
Okay.
that I have this routine that I've developed that it really works for me. So when I come back from a class, I have to go through what I've gone through during the day. So it doesn't matter what time it is, I have to make sure I finish it.
Mm. Eh,
So it's that consistency that I have. So it doesn't matter what time I have to, even if I don't have, if I have to sleep by 2 a.m., I have to get it done.
mm. And was your husband understanding in this? I mean, you're a very young couple, and you're talking about the delayed gratification. So, in the sense of, say, okay, your husband has not seen you throughout the day, he wanted to speak with you, maybe discuss some things with you, but you want to really go through your notes from the day. How did he deal with that?
Well, I married someone with the same interests. It's because we share the same academic goals and dreams that I married him. We are in sync, and I'm grateful to God for the life partner that I have. He's very understanding. He supports me, motivates me, encourages me, and I'm grateful for him. So he understands. Sometimes he has to be the one to be awake with me to even ask me questions the day before exam, to even read my papers to make sure that everything is well written before I submit it. So that's the kind of man I'm married, and I'm grateful for him.
Yeah, that's good. Partners actually enablers of our success, actually. So that's a good point. And yes, we thank God for your husband. Wanted to also ask you. So you talked about being a library rat, if we have to say it that way. So you spent lots of time in a library. Were you at some point ashamed of anything? Did people see you as a weird person, or did it just become an encouragement for others?
Well, I can't speak for others, but I would say that I love being in the library. I'm a librarian by profession. It's
Ah, now,
it's Yes, I had my bachelor's in library and information science, and I also had my national diploma as well. So it's just a place that is comfortable for me, being surrounded by the smell of books.
Mm.
And I also worked in the library. So if you're looking for MJ, you definitely find me in the library.
Okay, so now, so you've spoken about God, books, and your husband. But were there other people? Did you also go for sports? Did you have time to play? Or
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. I had the best support system. I had an accountability partner.
Mm.
I played sport. I had to balance everything because it's very easy as a student to lose track of time here. And if you don't do things that will, help you mentally, you can be depressed. In winter, it gets dark very quickly. You need people around. So I played badminton. I still play badminton actually. It's the sport that I love. And I played volleyball. I haven't played in a while now. I try to also take a walk sometimes.
Mm.
And I ride bicycle and I also swim. So I had to, I have a blend of balance because sometimes I just need to distress and not think about the other challenges in my life. So sport is my distress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, that's good because being a library rat, staying late nights, delayed gratification. One may seem to think, well, is that all that is in life?
No, no, no. You will
Or
also find me at parties.
aha, you see, yeah. So actually, were you are someone actually an incredible woman who has, well, will I say, been able to navigate the vicissitudes of life, balance,
Thank you.
try to kind of find your way and still be excellent because you got the DAAD prize. You got an award at the end of your studies, which is really a good recognition of what you were doing on campus at the university. How was it like? How did you feel? How did this prize come about?
I have to relive the moment once again. It was such a surreal moment for me, actually, and I felt really privileged and it was just really good to see like my hard work paid. Things I did and I saw no one, I thought nobody was, seeing.
Mm,
It felt good to be, seen, to be recognized, and to also inspire others
mm.
and to let them know that yes, you can be a woman and you can also still achieve great things. So that
Wow.
was nice.
Wow, you can be a woman and achieve great things. And would I say that this is one of the reasons why you are into empowering students? So, is that one of the reasons?
Yes, yes, it is. It is. And also, based on my faith,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible tells us to serve others.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to help others as well, to show them that nothing is impossible with God and also hard work. And you don't even need to work hard all the time. There's also the working smart.
Yeah, right, right. Can you share any specific initiative or project? I mean, if someone goes through your LinkedIn page, the person may be lost, but maybe you can just share for us any specific initiative or project you are involved that combines your faith and your commitments to student empowerment. So that perhaps someone can also find you, but uh, so that our listeners can also know what you're doing.
Yes, I have a mentorship program. I've also been involved in academic groups where I help students coach them on how to achieve academic success.
Mm.
So I have a community as well with about close to 100 participants now, where
Wow.
I share practical tips on how to achieve success, on how to, I motivate them, share my story as well, just to show them that there's no magic. You can be a good student, you can achieve success.
Wow. So
So,
someone comes to you right now and says, MJ, I'm struggling. Since I came to Germany, I'm not able to balance my studies with my faith. I have to work. I also need to study. So that means I'm not able to go to church or even to pray and to take my spiritual life seriously. As a coach, student coach, and someone who empowers other women and students, how would you say talk to this person?
I would tell the person not to beat themselves up. It's totally okay. But it's very important that you find your tribe, you find a faith community, because you cannot survive alone in this dark country. We all need support. And so
Mm,
find a faith community that can help you, spiritually, help you by encouraging you. And yes, it can be really different from what we have back home,
mm.
but it's still better than nothing.
You described Germany as a dark country. What makes you look at Germany as a dark country? Of course, not necessarily that everywhere is dark, but that's kind of a qualification. What makes you look at Germany as a dark country?
I'm referring to dark in two different ways. I'm looking at it from the winter dark
Yeah.
perspective and also from the secular perspective as well.
Mm,
You know, the norm that
mm,
we have here,
mm,
where things are becoming the norm. The world is they're just, signs of end times.
mm.
We have that, and that's what I mean by being dark.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came to Germany, I was pretty surprised how I came in winter. I was pretty surprised how it became dark just at 4 p.m. And it seems like the day is over, right? But you need to
Yeah.
turn things in your head, turn on a light, by the way, in order to go through the day until 9, 10 p.m. I mean, if it's dark at 4 and you still have to go through the day, that's something that needs a lot of determination, right? So when you first encountered this darkness, 4 p.m., did you ask people, What's going on here? What were your surprises?
I was very surprised
Yeah.
because I'm like, what's happening? And you still have to attend classes.
Yes.
I mean, for a Nigerian like me, when it is dark, it's time to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But here you still see people are active and they are going on like everything is fine. So it took a while for me to adjust, and it can be very depressing because
Yeah.
during winter when it's dark, people are just doing their thing, no one checks on you. But I'm grateful for having a partner here. But for so many of my friends, they had to go through, this depressing phase.
Mm,
And if not for the support of a loving community, a faith community here in Freedom South, they wouldn't have survived it.
mm. No, you definitely right. It's a depressing time because November in itself, some people refer to November as a dark month. If you come in October, you come to Germany September, October, and then you're confronted with November. It's a month where a lot of persons get depressed, and yeah, but there must have been moments where you are down. So you've talked about your support community. You've talked about your husband. You've talked about God. But say someone says, I can't move forward. There are too many assignments. The work seems to be too much. I need to pay my bills. How would you speak to this person who may be going through such a challenge of a seemingly depressing season in their life?
God is the answer.
Mm,
So whatever situation you're facing, it doesn't matter if you're depressed, if you're failing, if things are not going well. I had a similar experience actually. I lost my brother in 2023.
mm,
I was on the verge of completing my thesis and graduating against all odds. But at that moment, I said, no, I can't do it anymore. I have to stop. I couldn't read, I couldn't study, I couldn't do anything. It was like my whole world came crashing down.
mm,
I mean, friends tried, people tried, but nothing seemed to work. It was just God that came through for me. And I went straight to Him in prayer, and then He gave me peace. He helped me. So I would tell the person too that God is the only solution. And He also said in His word that when you serve me, I'm going to bless your bread, I'm going to bless your water.
wow. Wow. Wonderful. There's also the Bible text that's in Psalm that says, "He has lifted me from the slimy pit." Depression is actually a kind of a slimy, dark pit where you just keep going down and down. Um, yeah, so he has lifted me from the slimy pit, and then there's also the text, "I will never leave nor forsake you," and this is something that is very important to maintain us safe. Being in this country and being in a European context and facing winter. But you know what? It's also not entirely just possible to recover alone. You still need. You spoke about the support community. You spoke about your friends, and for me, I wouldn't say that all the things. Maybe you can disagree or even agree with me. All the things happening at that time when you lost your brother, all the friends or family speaking to you that it didn't work. I wouldn't say, because if it didn't work, then God wouldn't have maybe also come through, because there's something in community, and God speaks also through community. So when you pray, you mentioned you were praying and of course speaking with God. But I kind of imagine that there were seeds of those friends, the community around you, that were dropped that helped the light to come back, in that dark moment or those depressing times that you faced. And still, God came through, whether through those seeds or through the speaking directly to you, He came through for you. And my thought when I talk to people is that they some people actually would take drugs or maybe drown their sadness in alcohol, but you always ran to God. So you had the community, but still you didn't just depend on the community. And in as much as what I've said, so community is very important, you always ran to God. I wanted to just ask you, how would you envision your faith in influencing your future career goals? So you're a PhD student, and usually PhD is not necessarily easier than being a master student. Also, kind of collaborating with so many organizations. You are a mentor, a coach, and as you're going into the future, how would you envision your faith influencing your future career goals?
I would say, while aspiring towards my goals, I'll continue to hold on to my values.
Mm-hmm.
Values like integrity,
Mm-hmm.
humility, values that God has actually, that He desires for us.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent spirit. So to make sure that in whatever I do, that I ensure that this Christ-like values reflects in my life and my career.
So you're not going to be proud of just being MJ. You have this thing. What's it called? Is it mentoring with MJ? What is it called actually?
MJ's Guide to Student Success.
MJ's guide to students forums. Yeah. So you're not just going to be proud of this. Maybe when you get views or when you get collaboration or when you get some sponsorship. You're just going to maintain Christ-like integrity, Christ-like value, which is just being humble, right? And actually, I know you as a very humble person.
Thank you.
Yes, seriously, I'm glad to have spoken with you today. Just as we are going to finish, are there specific ways you hope to bridge your faith and profession? Say you are in a kind of a secular country and you spoke about this, and then you need to speak in a secular context. Would you still bring God into that secular context?
I have to be careful because Germany is not Nigeria. And in Nigeria, you could just walk up to anyone and talk about Jesus. And boy, yeah, you'll be surprised when you see the police. So, you have to apply wisdom. But I would still try my best to ensure that I talk to colleagues and friends about God. I ensure that my life reflects Christ-like, that makes them wonder about the God that I serve. In my own little way, I would also be continue to, I'm very active in church.
Mhm.
I'll continue to serve God and also pray for friends and people and just, reflect God.
Mm. Are there colleagues right now who work with you who are like Wow, Moyo, I'm really impressed with all that you do. Is it because of your faith? Are there colleagues who would ask such questions who are really impressed with you and kind of they may, want to know what is it that you're doing differently than the others in regards to yeah.
I've actually had a colleague ask me this, like, how do you do it all? How do you manage it? You don't seem like a normal human being. And I just said, it's God.
Yes.
It's God.
Wow.
So I hope to keep, reflecting more of God's grace.
Yes. And actually, isn't your name, your full name, a bit of a reflection of God's grace?
Wow. It means I rejoice to the gift of God.
Yes, and I really, really am happy to have spoken to you and with you today. Moyo, you are such
Thank you,
an
Pastor.
inspiration. Many of us, even those of us who have been here longer, and all that you do, keep doing it and keep rejoicing on the gifts and grace that the Lord has given to you and reflect those gifts. Thank you so much for taking your time to speak with me today. I'm so grateful.
Thank you for having me. I've also learned so much, so I'm grateful to be here.
Thank
And
you.
you to us still.
Thank you. All to God. All glory to God and praise to
Amen.
Him. Amen. All right, dear friends, that was it on our podcast today. We've spoken with Moyo, MJ. I think you'll see on the screen a link to her LinkedIn page and the programs she is really running. If you find this podcast very inspiring, please do share with someone, listen to it, and or kind of spread the news. You can also hit the subscribe button at Pastor Cheeks. God bless you. Until next time, see you.